welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to talk about which part of cowhide you should buy. So don't buy any leather before you watch this video, and watch this until the end. And if you don't know, or if you haven't understand correctly, watch this video again and again so that you can really understand what's going on in the leather. So this video I'm going to talk about which part. So you have a lot of different parts when you buy leather, and in this video I'm going to only talk about cow leather. So cow leather is most common and it's most available all around the world. Some people only focus on exotic leather, some focus on goat skin a lot, sheep skin a lot, but this information is only staying with cow leather. So horse leather, any other leather, I'm going to talk about it in different videos. So if you want to watch other videos as well, like this video and subscribe to my videos as well. So next I'm going to talk about very simple schematic drawing of your leather. So if you buy leather, or let's say this is cow, there's a flesh side and there's cow skin and there's air, so the air, like air, you know. So on the very outside of your cow there's a skin, and usually they will have a hair, but underneath the hair you will have a grain. So this side is what you want. So grain is the most important in your leather. So grain is what leather makes durable. So if you think about leather, you know, just like leather, it is a durable material. It is highly sought after in certain industry as well, because it's very tough and durable. It looks nice, it's luxurious. And what makes it very durable is it's because of the tight grain. Yeah, the tight grain always remains with the grain. Yeah, on the back side, the fuzzy side, this is where it close to the flesh. So this fuzzy side is actually, its correct terminology is corium. This is more of a loose fiber. It is dense, of course, like you can see in your eye. This is quite dense as well, but then it is less dense than the grain. Yeah. In Japan, this code is kinmen. So this is silver side, because in Japan leathercraft is also very popular and famous, and this grain side is silver side because it's precious and also smooth as well. So that is also interesting fact. So this side is what you want. Yeah. If we take a look at in different way, in different word formation, this is split leather. So usually in leather factory, this split leather is a waste, but they don't just throw it away. They do with other. They go through other process to turn it into genuine leather. But I'm going to talk about that in different video. I'm going to talk about here focusing on which part of hide you should using. So split leather is usually is a waste or trash, you could call it, and this is what you have. So depending on how thick they start with, it all comes to about 3 or 4 millimeter. So around this part, some of the split leather and also the interface layer and the grain, they all comes to the tannery, and then they process it. Yeah, and there's two different version of grain. There's a full grain and top grain, as you can see here. And the full grain leather is the leather that wasn't shaved or wasn't corrected at all. So the leather surface is all preserved. How you can really determine is that if you take a look at your leather very closely, if you can see all these very tiny microscopic holes, those are full grain leather, which is the nicest one. Yeah. And top grain leather is actually from full grain leather. They shave off very sub millimeter, very small amount of leather to remove all these tiny imperfections. So leather quality, in terms of leather quality, if you have a lot of scratch marks on your leather, the grade goes down. Yeah. So obviously people want to, you know, make higher quality leather to higher grade leather, so that they have higher pricing, of course, and they want to produce very clean, good leather as well. So some of the tanneries, or by the request of the buyer, they might want to just ask for, can you just shave up a little bit, so make it into top grain, and do this and do that. It's more of an order-based system. So Tannery does that for you when their facility can do. So full grain leather is the best leather because they preserve the nature of a cowhide. So they need to start with very minimum scratch marks. Otherwise, it will be seen on the leather and the grade goes down. Yeah. So it's a really tricky because full grain leather, if you have a scratch marks here and there, you have to avoid those scratch marks, and then that limits your using your leather where you can use it. But for top grain leather, because it's shaped just slightly, your leather looks almost perfect. Yeah. So now you have a freedom of where to use. You can utilize more spaces. So full grain leather doesn't always it's best. Top grain can be a best as well. For me, I don't really care. Full grain, top grain, they are all really nice leather because there's also much lower quality leather if we go down. So full grain, top grain, don't worry, you're always buying good quality stuff. Yeah. So let's talk about leather symbol. So we have 3 symbols. Basically, we have more, of course, but I just bring out 3. So this is leather typical symbol. If you have a shoes or jacket, if you see your label, you have this kind of mark, and it means leather. If you have a diamond, it means other material, and they have different variations of diamond as well. And this one is other material. And if you have this synthetic or other materials on top of your leather, which is coated, that is coated leather, it looks like this. So it's quite straightforward, right? And the reason I brought out this symbol was that because of the fact that how this symbol looks like, this thing, this resembles what actually the leather looks like when you buy the whole hide. So this is the neck, leg, tail, leg, and leg. So this is 3 main parts in one hide. So there are also, if you go really in detail, there are different parts that you could go through, but then they are not available for you separately like that. So this is the only thing you should think about. Don't worry about too much details about different parts name and stuff. This is the most and available parts for you as tannery sell or any your distributor sells. So there's a shoulder, and there's a bend, or you can call it butt, and there's a belly. So there are only 3 parts. Shoulder, yeah, whether it's double or single, you'll know what's the difference. But just the shoulder first, shoulder, and bend, or butt, and belly. Okay, that's the only 3 parts. Yeah. So these parts are all going to talk today. So let's take a look at this half hide. So if you buy one single hide, it looks like this, but then they don't really sell that much. It's huge. I'm talking this from here to here, it could be 2.5 meter. Yeah, from here to here, 2.5 meter. Also here to here to 2.5 meter. So depending on the leather, of course, it varies, but it's huge leather. So most leather, they sell it hide or half hide or one side. Yeah, this is called side. So from this side to here, they just sell it like this. But this leather is huge leather. From here to here, again, it's about 2.5 meter. Yeah. So what's good about this half hide or one side is that it is extremely large and it is very long. Yeah. So you can do a lot of stuff. Yeah. So like I said, from top grain leather, you have large surface, then you can utilize your space. So you can avoid flaws as well. So if you are making large bags, you want to avoid any tiny marks, then you can make your pattern distributed in a certain way so that you keep the large portion also, but then you avoid the flaws. It's possible. And what's bad about the one side and this half hide is that the shipping cost is usually huge. If you're buying it from domestic, I think it's not a problem, but because how leather is preserved and also how they shipped is they have to roll it and they make it into very long roll of a leather, and it's extremely long, so the shipping is extremely expensive because it's an irregular shape. It's very narrow, but then it's long, so high shipping costs can be a problem, right? So like this is your whole height, and let's say this is a human. Yeah, so human size is compared to whole height is too big, so they just try to cut this half height so that they can sell it or ship it a little bit better. So this is what it really comes down to, the cons, the bads about one size. Otherwise, I think it's the ideal size, because this way I think is slightly cheaper as well. But not many producers, tanneries, want to produce it like this as well, because the leather industry is a little bit complicated, but I will talk about in different video as well. So if you buy like this is half height. Okay, so let's talk about shoulder and double shoulder. So this is, I think, the most common for good quality leather, or most common for a lot of tanneries to offer. The shoulders are great value for price. So shoulders are actually good for a lot of projects, and you can say it's overall it's a good quality. So shoulder and double shoulder, what's the difference is that you have a shoulder that is single shoulder, and double shoulder means this two of the single shoulders are connected. So double shoulder just means it's a one piece. Yeah, so two shoulder comes together. So double shoulder is just basically simply double shoulder. It doesn't mean anything extra. Yeah, so double shoulder, it's a very good piece that you can buy for if you are starting leathercraft, if you're trying to make something and trying to sell something. I think shoulder is a really good material. Yeah, what's bad about the double shoulder is about neck wrinkles. Yeah, I'm going to show you what the neck wrinkles looks like with a good light. I can show you very well. So this is the bad sides, and actually that's could be a good side as well if you're looking for neck wrinkles. But some people not like it, some people like it. So it depends on you. So if you buy half height and one side, it comes in to you like this. And the way to differentiate between shoulder and the bends, which is the bottom area, is that if you see the wrinkles, yeah, so the wrinkles will look like this, very large streaks, okay, like this. So you can see that, oh, from half height, from one side, this is the neck, so this must be shoulder. Yeah, and this side, however, I'm going to talk about next. This is the bends, yeah, which is the most precious one, and this is the belly. Okay, this side is belly, right? So the neck part can be used to distinguish whether it's shoulder or bends. Otherwise, you don't know which part is neck, because if you look at it like this, you don't know which part is the neck or bends, which differentiate the quality. So it will be difficult. So you're looking for neck wrinkles to determine whether it's shoulder or bends. So let me show you how the wrinkle looks like. So if you look at the leather, can you see these lines? Yeah, you can see a little bit bare here also as well. Can you see these long streaks? As I move around finger like this, I think now it looks better. Yeah, these are wrinkles. So some people like this because they call it character. Some people don't like it. Yeah, see these big wrinkles. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really nitpicking. I mean, it's visible in your bare eyes. I think it's just the camera that really doesn't catch it well. But then these are the neck wrinkles. Yeah, you can see around here as well. Yeah, this is not a poor quality leather. This is very top quality vegetable tan leather. But this shows the neck wrinkles, and this is just unavoidable. It's just from natural material, this neck wrinkles. So this means this is shoulder. Yeah, so it is very good vegetable tan leather, but then it really gives you this neck wrinkles. This is the shoulder. Yeah, yeah, like this. Oh, here you can see it very well here. Yeah, these are the neck wrinkles. So finally, the bends area. So the bends and the double bends are the most valuable, highest quality, extremely durable one of my favorites, but it's quite expensive, I should say. So the bends and double bends, the grain leather, the grain layer here in bend section are much more thicker, and also the corium section of the leather is also thick. So what's really the difference is the shoulder and the bends and the belly all have different grain thickness and also different grain corium thickness as well. And the bends and double bends has the densest, also the thickest grain. So if you're making stuff very durable but also want to make it thin, you can use bends. If you make it really thin, also skives beautifully, and with the left very thin material, you can do it very good project, and it is durable. But then it's only the price that it really matters. So it is very high price because it's the best part of the leather, and it comes, sometimes it comes too thick. A lot of bends, they are really dense fiber, and tanners also want to keep that some of the density because it can be used in some of the cords or some of the bridles, or they can use it in different application as well, because with the huge thick density leather as well. So because of that, they comes very thick. We're talking 4 or 5 millimeter thick. So it's very tough, it's really solid, it's very hard leather, but you can scribe down very thin and it becomes very pliable again. And so if you don't have a skiving facility or any shop that you can get skive to, it can be problematic because it comes in very high thickness. Some of the guys you might know the bridle leather, the famous bridle leather. They make it with a bend, but bridle leather is more like the process name. It's not about the leather name. So you can bridleize belly, shoulder, other place also as well, but then it will not really meet its effort and the quality what they're putting their effort into. So they're only doing it with the bends. So don't get confused with the article name. The bridle leather is the best. It's really nonsense. You should know which part they used and who processed it and how they processed it as well. So parts plays a major key here, not the process. Okay, so bends is the highest quality, extremely durable, and it's really the highest thickness and the high price. Let me show you my belt made of bends. So this is my belt that I made 7 years ago. I think it's quite nice up till now. This is made of bends called Shonan oiru. So it's a Japanese leather made from bends. So this is very durable leather. If you have made belts before with your leather, I think oftentimes what you will experience is that your belts kind of gets wavy after a certain time. Even you have a holster or not, if you do any high loading belts, it doesn't matter. If you make with a shoulder, or the worst with the belly, which I'm going to talk about it very soon, is that because the leather fiber is so stretchy, your belts will not hold its shape. This belt is about 7 years old, and I've been using these belts all over the place and in the work, in school or whatever. And this belt is already still very straight, yeah, along the edge. Of course, it's not that straight like ruler, but it's just holds its shape. Yeah, that's what really differs the quality of the belts. So make from bend, the belt made from bends leather, it's the best. So I like it. I make belts with a bends leather. It's durable. It hasn't cracked any bit. And also what's good about it is it has a very good oils, because from the name Shonan oil leather, it has a very good characteristic over the time. It patinas beautifully. The only one thing that is, this leather is too thick, because the belt, the buckle is only from for the leather that is around 2 or 3 millimeter thick, but I just use it no matter what. So it kind of showed this kind of different wear marks. It kind of shaped the leather a little bit differently, but then it's okay. Maybe I should make it into lining, maybe use bends but thinner and just glue it on both sides. That will make it a little bit better. Anyways, the leather is just a great item for belts. I like this leather a lot. Yeah, and if you think the leather is too small for your project, I have to remind you again about how long and the size of the leather again. So if you look from here to here, I say this is about 1.6 or 1.5 meter, so it's plenty for your belt. Yeah? So even we're talking very huge piece of leather about here. Yeah? From here to here, it's about 2.5 meter. So if you're buying only one side band, it's doable. You can buy one band because of the price. They don't sell it always as double bands. Double bands are quite rare. It's more about they always sell as a one-piece band and one-piece band, like one band, and that's normal. Bridle also comes in like that. It's a huge piece of leather. It's very long section. So distinguishing from shoulder to bands, there's a line. It depends on tannery. There is not a exact measure where to they cut, just their know-how where to they cut. So we're talking very big piece of leather. Yeah. So the belly is the stuff that we should avoid at least. I like belly. I liked the belly when I started leathercraft because it was so cheap. But then as I use it more and more, I always feel like I shouldn't be using because it just gives you poor quality after a few years. So what really matters is the durability, right? So if you buy the belly right now and if you just make one product, it looks really good. It just looks like other parts. It looks just the same. But then over the time, it just deteriorates so fast. It's because the grain that I talked about, the grain part of the leather is very loose there. Yeah. So even if it's the same grain, like from the single hide like this, the grain of here, the bands area, and the grain of this belly area is different. From same cow, same tannery, same material, same everything, but different parts of the hides have a different thickness of grain and therefore different density of the grain. The bands, the bands being the tightest grain, densest, and the shoulder is a less dense but also very dense, but belly is the worst, very loose grain. Yeah, the other side as well, the fuzzy side, the corium side, right? Also the densest are the bands, a little bit less dense at the shoulder, the most loose is the belly. Yeah, so the belly, it is low price of course. Usually a lot of tanneries, this is also waste material like split leather. They cut down belly and they just throw it in a bin. They do collect in a bin so that they can sell it to other tanneries or sell it to other product as well. A lot of pet chewing gums, one of those pet items, they're all made of bellies because their price is so cheap. They don't make it with a high price parts like bands or shoulder. They make it with a belly or very very cheap low price material. Yeah, so it is low price, and I did use it for practicing material, but because if you're new to leather, you want to practice it with the leather a lot because you want to be more familiar with the leather and to be familiar with material itself. You can practice a lot with belly because it's cheaper price. You don't necessarily have to buy bands to practice your leathercraft because obviously that will cost too much money. So practice with belly. I mean, practicing, I see no problem with the belly. Yeah. So again, if you're making into product, belly stretches really well because it's loose. So it stretches really well. So it's worst if you use it for belts. So of course it's weak structure. So, and like I said, it's less durable. And I'm going to talk about skiving issue. So skiving. So I'm going to talk about skiving in a whole separate video. But if I really talk very briefly about skiving, is that if you skive bands to very thin, like 0.3 or 0.4, it skives perfectly because the bands is very tight and dense. So when the knife cuts in, very thin grain stays together very strongly. They are very tough guys. Yeah. For double shoulder, it's less than butts, but it's okay. You can also thin it very split it very thin as well, because shoulder grain also stays together strong very well. But belly, you shouldn't go below 0.5 millimeter, because if you start to do it too thin, the grain already breaks down before the knife blade goes through their other parts of the grain. So belly grains are very weak, so you can't really do the thin skiving. So that makes you cannot really make very thin skived high quality leather goods. You only have to use it as a whole piece. Yeah, so belly, you have a lot of limitation on skiving. And for hand skiving, if you're making small leather goods, if you're doing the watch straps, you might want to do the skiving like diagonal skiving or full flat skiving, such things like that. I've already made a video that your knife should be super sharp to do the good skiving, so that your blade doesn't break when you try to skive down. For belly, that is the exception. Even though your knife is sharp, your technique is good, belly will break at the end of the very thin side of the leather, because the grain will not hold together. Yeah, so if you do the skiving, it will break. So it will give you a lot of trouble in that area. So skiving issue is the most thing that I really don't like about belly. If you're not doing any skiving, if you just need a leather material to do something else, belly is really good because it's low price. So belly is not an evil here. It's just this is just a characteristic that you have to deal with. So be aware of these. Yeah. The other issue is small and narrow. The other parts of leather you're looking at is almost kind of square, right? You have a fairly large area to work on. For belly, from here to here, it's about only 30 centimeters. Yeah, so it has a very limitation of making a large leather goods. For your briefcase, for example, if you're trying to make with belly, you might not be able to, because it's a irregular shape. And from here to here it's very narrow, or only about 30, or even here to here, maybe short part can be 20 or 25. So it's difficult to plan anything with your belly. So it's the issue as well. Only small leather goods are possible if you ever try to make it with the belly. So let's talk about belts. So like I showed you, for making belts, the bends, of course, or double bends as the best, or you can use a shoulder. You can glue the both sides with the shoulder, also could be good. For belly, if you want to just sell and run, belly could be also a good option. Yeah, but I don't want to say it's three. Yeah, but you could use it, but it's the worst for belts. Yeah. For lining, however, if you're trying to glue something on the line, so for example, this is the bends, and you want to line the leather, you don't want to expose this fuzzy. You also want to, for example, line the leather with another line, another leather like this. Maybe you can save some cost with the belly, because it's just for the lining. All the structure work, all the tough work, bends does it. So you want to just cover up the inside with some kind of leather, you could use a belly. So see, you can strategize your business plan. Yeah, so that's the thing. So you could use the belly, or if you don't want to cheap out on that quality either, you can go for a shoulder as well. And also, if you want to go for only the highest quality of the highest quality, you can charge 600 euros for your belts. You can go for bends as well. Yeah, but of course, this comes with a price, so you have to really think about it. But quality matters. Bends is the best. Yeah. For small leather goods, yeah. Butero, like you guys, I think the Butero is really famous in Asia. South Korea use Butero a lot. Japan, Butero a lot. Shoulder, Butero is really famous. Shoulder is good for small goods. Yeah, the price is okay, and yeah. The bends, also these bends and double bends are the best quality. So if you're trying to compete with the high quality durable leather goods, bends is the good. Yeah. So you can see it, there's 1, 2, and there's stereo star marks with the belly. I have to say correctly here, because small goods, it depends. If you're making coaster for your beer or for your drinks or whatever, the coaster will not go into a lot of stress, and it really doesn't matter with the stretch in anything. It just lies there on the table. Then belly is actually a good choice for small goods. Yeah. Or if you try to make menu cover, for example, if you make with the belly, then also it's a good option, because the menu that you're making on and just glue it on the parts, then belly is also a good option because it doesn't go too much into stress. So on certain situations, belly can be, I say, not a great option, but smart option for your business plan. Yeah, so belly is play like that for your purposes. Yeah, and finally, the large goods, if you're making bags or weekender bags or briefcase, stuff like that, bands are the best because it really endures the stress and the load bearing. The bands, if you make bags with the bands, it will last really long time. It will not lose its shape easily. Yeah. If you can't really afford bands, shoulder is your next option. Shoulder is as good as also for large leather goods. A lot of makers also make bags with the shoulder. Shoulder doesn't mean it's cheaping out material. Shoulder is still really good, but if you really want to step up your game, again, the bands are the best choice. Yeah. Belly, I don't want to say belly for large goods, but maybe some certain parts, yeah, you want to use belly. For zipper puller, I don't want to use belly because it will go through a lot of stress as the hand pull it. It will get a lot of tension, so it will break very easily. And your bag is all good, but if your zipper puller breaks, that also gives you not a good image for your company. So you wouldn't use for belly, you would use for band. For belly, I don't know, maybe tags or anything that is really less valuable. You want to save money on those, maybe you could use belly, but I want to avoid just large goods on belly. Just I don't trust belly that much. If you want to really combination, exterior you could use bands, and interior you could use shoulder. So exterior goes through a lot of stress, so toughest bands, and interior leather pockets and stuff, it goes through stress but less stress, so I'll use shoulder. So again, this info is about cow leather only, and I talked about which part of cowhide you should use. And hopefully this video helped you to choose, and when you buy leather you can know what you're getting and what you should be getting, and that's it. So it was very brief, and hopefully this video helps you in your leather craft. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Bye bye.